Welcome to this week's Down Home with Tina, and Happy New Year's, everybody. I'm so excited that, you know what? I made it to 2023. Last year at this time, I was dealing with an illness that I do not want to even talk about that because I thought to myself, nothing like bringing the year in with a bang. It was like right after the first of the year, but all is going well, and I want to celebrate. I have this Jelly Belly. It's rosé sparkling jelly beans, and I'm going to attempt to open this up. So I bought a new house. I have to share that with you here. And I've mentioned on social media that I'm going to start doing the videos and like sharing some of the things. It was so funny because when I did it, as I'm having trouble right now with this, when I did the video, I realized I didn't have one of my tools. So important things when you do a video and you're going to talk about your house or open up a bottle like this, I'm just joking, you do have to have certain tools at the house. Just keep that in mind when you go to do something. And when you watch that little segment that I'm going to throw on at some point, I don't even know how to do this, you guys. Oh, well, that was super, super easy. Now, how do I do this? Because I don't even know. There's something more to this. Anyways, we're going to have some fun today. We're going to have some Jelly Bellies, sparkling Jelly Bellies, rosé flavor. Once I get them out of the bottle, I might have to just kind of tear it apart here. And if I'm chewing Jelly Bellies for the rest of the show, you'll know that they're really tasty. Don't go anywhere. I've got a great show lined up, folks, with some awesome guests on my first show of the year. Happy New Year. I'll be right back. It's Down Home with Tina.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
You walked down the aisle and promised happily ever after. Sometimes happily ever after means ending a relationship. We know the conversations are not easy. Deciding what's best for you, your children, and your next steps takes work and communication. At Dagger Law, we know there are no monsters in a divorce, only people trying to find their way. Local, trusted, experienced. Dagger Law.
Welcome back. It's Down Home with Tina. It is my first responder of the month. My first responder of the month is brought to you by Bay Food Market. I'm so excited to have Lieutenant Brian McQuery. He is with the Lancaster Fire Department. Been working on a project for quite some time now, since 2018. But before we get to that, I ask all of my first responders, why did you decide to become a firefighter?
Well, everyone always says to help somebody, right? Mm-hmm. But it truly is that, right? It's being able to go out there in the streets, and when someone has an emergency, no matter what that is, it could be something small or something huge, we get the chance to help them through that and hopefully make their day better. You
know, I tell you what, I've had an experience recently with my father, who has been in care of nurses, and he's been at the Fairfield Medical Center and things like that. He is so grateful, and he made a comment to me. He said, these ladies, the ones who, you know, I don't know if he's had any men that have come in to his room, he goes, they work so hard. And that is the same with our first responders and all that you do. You're out there to help them. And he feels bad too. And I know that you've got to have some of your patients and those that you go out on calls, they feel so bad. I just keep reminding him, Dad, they want to be there. They want to do this. This is their job. They have chosen to want to help others. And that's exactly what you all do as firefighters.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. So we hear all the time, like, oh, we're sorry we call you, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
We're here to help them out, and that's why they call 911, and we're able to get there and help them through their problem.
Absolutely. So, Lieutenant McQuery, why did you decide to start up a project such as the one we're going to talk about today, Project F.O.R.T? So
Project F.O.R.T started back in 2018 through a group of major crimes and through Lancaster Fire Department. It stands for Fairfield Overdose Response Team. And really what it started back in 2018. We knew we have a huge drug problem here in Lancaster, and we wanted to figure out a way, how do we help these individuals? So just with a group of people, we started with our medics. They sent our medics to what's called a quick response team. So when we went through overdoses, they kind of got their information, asked if they wanted help, and if they agreed, me and Scott Duff and some other Cure team members would go out with a piece of paper and write down their name and address and ask for some help, and then see if we can help them out through that situation. But since then, the reason why it's so successful is everybody is helping out, right? So we have Major Crimes, Lancaster Fire Department, Lancaster Police Department, Adam H. And when we have these individuals, we ask for all their help, and we're able to get them through any recovery center that we possibly can.
Really?
So yeah, it's pretty neat.
Do you have any of those who have gone through the fort and you have helped come back to you and talk? Or, I mean, obviously it's working, so some success.
Yeah, absolutely. So they come back, they tell us, what we've done for them. And it's been almost since 2018, we've had almost 300 people we've met with and talked to, been able to get them to maybe just talking to them or getting through some rehab facilities.
And what happens is when you're out on a call, and this is where you get those who are needing it, and then you just ask them at that time, or you wait until...
Nope.
No, yeah.
We
How
ask
does
them
that?
right
How does
now.
it all work? Yeah.
So if you think about it, when someone overdoses or having a bad day, right? Sometimes the worst day of their life, we have to act quick.
Yeah.
Since a quick response team, if we're able to say, "Hey, do you want help?" We can get that phone number. They might not know what's going on. They might say, "Absolutely, we need help." We can call them immediately. We usually would try to wait for a day, but that's why Scott Duff and it's called Sean Gross. Can't say his last name. Grossarth, I think his last name. So they work together. So we give them the information. They go out the next day. Or within
so
44
they go
hours.
out
Absolutely.
right
They
away.
go to their house, and they're able to hook them up with other places in the different counties: Perry, Franklin, Pickaway, wherever they can find a home for them. They try to get them there. And if they just want 24-hour treatment, we have the recovery center here in town, some other places here in town like Adam H. and stuff like that.
So you all are able to help them to find placement for them to get continued help, unlike what it has ever been before in Fairfield County.
So there's so many places out there willing to help, because we got a lot of state and federal government now. So, and that's pretty much what our job is. So we can get their information and we try to find them what works best for them.
That's awesome. What can you share with families that they can pay attention to, maybe what's going on in their family? I mean, I know a lot of families are aware that if they have a loved one that is using, but are there some things that they can do before it gets to that point? Ryan, you see what I mean, before an overdose happens?
So be supportive, right? So usually these families, the problem is they've been dragged down so much, right? So their families are overdosing and things like that, and they don't know what else to do, and that's what we're here for. We're here for more just the families more than anything. So when we go out to these homes, we try to give them some phone numbers. There's some places here in town that can give them some answers and help them out. And what we try to tell them is, here's our phone numbers, and call us when they finally come back home, right? So they might leave for 2 weeks, and when they finally come back home, they have the tools to help them right now, instead of, and the families are the ones going through a lot also. We have to realize that, so.
Yeah. Are there multiple people in families sometimes that need that help that haven't overdosed, and can you help those families as well?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes it is a couple that is in the same situation. Just because one didn't overdose, the other has.
I mean,
same thing, you're still giving them the resources.
Same resources, and usually they go separate ways, and usually the courts, sometimes the court reaches out to us a lot, say, hey, we have this situation, they have a kid, how can we help them so they can get back to their families and stuff like that. So the courts reach out to Scott a lot, saying, hey, we're going to take their kid away. How can we do our best due diligence to get them help so they can get back to their children? Because that's what we really, that's the goal.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you want to keep families together if you possibly can. Any misconceptions or anything like that people might see as what Project F.O.R.T is to be, that you may have to set straight with folks?
Well, it's not. So overdoses, right? Narcan's a big thing. There's Narcan all out through our county, and where it's there, so if somebody goes down, that they're able to give Narcan, and hopefully they're awake by the time we get there. We just have to know this is a known problem. So instead of just saying, they can help it, they shouldn't overdose, they can help not overdose, but the reality is they probably could help themselves, they probably would. If they had an opportunity, but it's a pretty big problem, so that's why we're here, and that's why all the federal and state government has dumped money into these agencies, and so we can help them out.
Help with the project.
Absolutely.
And everything. That is awesome. Anything else before I highlight you as my first responder? Anything else?
So our main goal, right? If we can help
Yeah.
one family, one son, one daughter, if we can save one life, it's worth it. So that's what we're here for.
Yep. Spread the news, folks. Let people know that this is out there. It is something that is available to them. And if you aren't out on the call, hopefully you get that call. But if you happen to not be, then somebody can share the word that is watching today with a loved one to know that we are trying in Fairfield County to make a positive difference. I say we because, and not me, but you and all of those other nonprofits and
It's
those
everyone.
organizations.
Yep.
Everybody is really trying to
Yep.
make a difference. I don't see anything on Facebook anymore saying that there's no help. By golly gee, there is help here in Fairfield County. Brian, you are my first responder of the month. I want to thank you so very much for all that you do and for just having a project, something like that was so needed in our county, and hopefully another county will pick it up if they don't have it. Ava Jewelers, we have got a gift card in here for you and some goodies, because there's always goodies in the bag. Maybe not healthy goodies, but there are goodies in the bag. Thank
All
you
right.
so much for what you do.
One more thing.
Oh, yes.
All right. So the reason why Project F.O.R.T helps is that everyone works together. And that's why it works. All the supportive measures here in the county.
Yep, we work
right.
together. That's the only way it's got to be. That's the
All
way it
right.
is. Thanks, Brian. Thank you so much. Don't go anywhere, folks. I'll be right back. I've got much more to share with you on this week's Down Home with Tina.
Bay Food Market is Fairfield County's source for high-quality, locally sourced meats. The meat case is always full of quality fresh beef, pork, gourmet burgers, and gourmet brats for you and your family to enjoy. Bay Food Market cures and smokes their own hams, bacon, and sausage. Visit Bay Food Market at the corner of Maple and Walnut Streets in Lancaster and discover the Bay Food Market difference. Open daily 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., closed Thursday and Sunday. Bay Food Market, proudly serving Fairfield County families for more than 90 years.
Where can I find advanced heart care?
When you choose Fairfield Medical Center for your heart care, you'll find confidence in our expertise and peace of mind in our compassion. Your health is important, and our heart and vascular experts specialize in the latest technology and treatments to keep you feeling your best. Whatever you're searching for, you can find it at Fairfield Medical Center.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I have with me now semi-pro basketball team. Well, not really on the team, but I have the owner, which is really important and very excited to have Dr. David Fant. He is with me, and also this year's coach is Brett McKnight. And we're just going to learn a little bit more about the team, how they've been doing the last year. And I'm going to go ahead and start with you. So, David, why did you decide to bring a semi-pro basketball team to Lancaster, Ohio?
Well, I thought it was something that the community needed, something to unite the community. You have the different high school teams, and everybody sort of has their team. So I wanted something to conjoin Lancaster and do something for the Lancaster community. And we've been successful in that. People have came out, people have really took us to their hearts, and we appreciate that.
And I'm like sitting here, I'm thinking, was it 19, when was the season? When did the season start? Because it was right at the same time I think I started the show, right?
Right,
About the same
we
time?
started, this is our 5th year. Believe it or
Oh,
not.
so
this
it was
this is our
just
5th
before
year.
that.
I think we saw you the 2nd year.
The second then, yeah.
Second,
Oh man,
yeah.
you're like, I don't know how we got connected, but we've been talking about with you guys each
Right.
year, and we've had some really fun times. Talking about fun times, what has it been like from the time you first started and the way that you have with the spectators these days? How many come out? And it's just, I know I've been to some of the basketball games, and you guys all have a great time.
Right, it blows my mind to see how successful we've been and how the community has taken us in. It's funny, some of our players go out into the community and they're like rock stars. The kids really gravitate to them. And as I said before, we've been successful. I mean, we've Midwest Conference champs our first year, runners up in the PBL second year, runners up the third year. We won it all in 2022. Well, I guess that would be last year. So we've been very successful, and we've had a core group of people who have been there since the beginning. So it's fun for the community, and it's fun for us as well. I love the whole thing.
Absolutely. And Coach McKnight. So some of you folks may have seen him last year, because when I went and I was at one of the practices, he was the lifter of the guy who I'm sure I can't even imagine what the thought was on their faces when they were like, this TV person is coming and doing what do you want me to do? So not only is he an amazing basketball player, and we're going to talk a little bit about, some of you may remember him as from back in the day, the Final Four for state.
Yes.
Yeah. So when did you start with basketball? I'm sure it sounds like quite young.
I started when I was probably about like 5 years old.
Yeah.
So I've always been playing basketball. Just started me shooting on the court, like going to my brother's games, half times, and just shooting. So that's just me that's when it started.
So you are the coach this year for
Yes.
Lancaster Thunder.
I am.
And so let's go way back to when you first started playing basketball and your coaches from high school. What or who encouraged you to want to become a coach?
My dad was a big state of me doing that. My dad was heavily in the community doing the Pee Wee football. So he's doing Pee Wee football in a long 15 to 20 years, and you know how we connected with kids and how we coach kids to be better themselves, put them to their highest potential. You know, that's where I learned it from, and that's where the core of all this comes from.
So did you play football with your dad as the coach?
Yes.
Or just basic, but mostly basketball?
I played football all the way till my 9th grade year.
Okay.
So I played football and Pee Wee football with him as well.
What was it like in that conversation? Dad, I'm not playing football anymore. I'm going to do basketball.
The way it happened, I just had a coach tell me that I wasn't going to amount to anything in basketball. I needed to focus on football the rest of my life, and I really didn't take that light of that. And I told my dad, like, hey, I don't want to play football anymore. And ever since then, he said, oh, okay, and that's what is it.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was just always going towards doing the basketball thing.
Yeah.
What'd you do after high school? I mean, making it to that Final Four, I can't imagine what it was like.
Oh yeah, it was fun. 25-2, that was a fun year. I mean, it was to the point where our first team was sitting down in the third quarter, and our second team was actually playing a lot of minutes. You know, so it was, you know, being able to do that and play with a team like that, it was a lot of fun.
Have you coached prior to this with this team?
I've coached some AAU, but other than this, no.
What's this like? Because these are grown men.
Yeah. Like I told Dr. Fant, it's definitely different because I still have the competitive state of mind of wanting to play. I always will play the game until I can't be effective.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it gets irritating at certain things because I know what I would do with certain different scenarios within the game.
Yeah.
But I also got to remember I have to put them in the best position to score, best position within the game to be able to do that.
What's the season like this year? What do you think? How it's going to go?
I mean, it's gone well. There has been some cancellations, but other than that, you know, when we play the type of ball we need to play, I think we'll be definitely fine.
The season started a little sooner this year, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
I thought it did, yeah.
Yes.
So where are we at in the season now?
Right now we're at a break.
Okay.
We have a break right now till January 14th. That's the next game.
Okay.
So we have a little break just to go ahead and get better in practice and get shots up and get in shape.
That's going to be tough, having a break during the holidays. It's tough for me just to do anything during the holidays,
Yeah.
like because I eat so much.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out there and run and work hard and do things. No. So how many games do you guys have left then, beginning in January 14th?
A
couple of months or?
I think 5 more games, or 6 more games.
Oh,
6 more games.
6 more
We're
games.
midway. We're 6-1 right now, so we've been successful so far.
How can folks get tickets and things like that? Because can you pay at the door?
You can pay at the door, or you can buy tickets online through our website or on Facebook, which is Lancaster Thunder. So we'd love for people to come out and see what we've got going on in Lancaster.
What are some of the fun things that you guys do at halftime?
Oh,
you do some fun
yeah,
things
we do
halftime,
some
right?
fun things. I mean, we have our rooster toss that will be coming up again. So those are fun. We'll have some shoot-offs again, where you have people shoot out against each other. So we have some fun things going on. We have some giveaways and things like that. So it's fun, something for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. One more thing for you, Brett. So, okay, did they have to get you to be a coach for you to come back to Lancaster for certain things? Because I heard it's hard to get you back to town. Maybe.
My heart will always be here, especially in the basketball range.
Yeah.
I'll always be here with the basketball. and it was just another opportunity to be back here and play some basketball and coach and be involved. So.
What is the most that you look forward to when you get out there on the court, maybe playing or coaching?
Just having another opportunity to bounce the basketball. To be around the basketball another time is a blessing, because some people don't get that chance. Me being 34 and being able to do that, I'm blessed right now.
Yeah,
so.
Very cool. Wonderful. All right. Anything else that you would like to share?
Just come and join us at Lancaster Thunder.
Yeah. Folks, the Lancaster Thunder semi-pro basketball team, very, very fun. I have been out and I have been to the games. I have helped do certain things and participated, if you would like to say. They are a lot of fun. Take the family. If you have any kids, and I think they may even sometimes have a student night where the kids can come out and they bring the families out.
Right. We do something.
Yeah. So I think that it's just a really good time, especially during the winter time when you don't have a whole lot to do and you're looking for something to do. It is a cheaper way to get out and get the chance and opportunity, because I do believe I've seen them do photo ops and different things like that also when after the games, so the guys can interact with the kids, especially those kids that love basketball. And I also know just from interviewing the team in the years past, is this also, if you are an adult and you're interested in playing basketball and you've played, they do have tryouts, and you can take that and get the opportunity and the chance to try out to get somewhere. And I know that it is just, so my daughter's a senior. She didn't play football. She's a cheerleader and stuff. And so some of those guys at the end of football, that is the last chance that they will get to play football, more than likely ever again. So I love the idea of how they have the semi-pro basketball team in Lancaster, where anybody that's going out and you're not going to college, or you're not going to go off and be some kind of professional basketball player, or you don't think you can be, this gives you that other opportunity. And I feel that being that it is the new year, 2023, and if it's something on your bucket list and you just want to try it, don't be afraid to start doing the things to set you up to be able to try it. Believe in yourself and keep on going. And I have a story that I'm going to share with you coming up in the next segment, and I hope that this story encourages you to remind yourself to have value and self-worth and to believe in yourself, because you never know what you can do, especially if you haven't tried it. And I mean, if you've never tried basketball, that might be a little bit more of a challenge, I would think, but it doesn't mean that if it's not in your heart that it isn't something that you're meant to be or to do. So coming up is a special story about a special guy who I am excited to share with you, and I hope you don't go anywhere. Stick around. You are watching Down Home with Tina.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Alex Lape. In my 30-year law enforcement career, I have seen many different trends in illicit drug trade and substance use disorders. Fentanyl is the deadliest drug that I have ever encountered. Very minuscule amounts can be fatal. Fentanyl is present in most mainstream illicit drugs. Drug cartels are now pressing fentanyl into forms that appear to be common candies. Ingesting any of these fake candies or pills can have fatal overdose effects. This ongoing drug epidemic requires a balanced approach. We must focus our attentions and resources on treatment and education in conjunction with enforcement efforts that hold those who traffic in dangerous drugs accountable. For your sake and the sake of your family, do not take any medications that are not issued through prescriptions by your pharmacy. Thank you.
This message is brought to you by the Fairfield County Adam H. Board.
We want everyone to feel comfortable and safe, that you pick up that phone, you make that phone call, and let us just guide you and lead you where you want. And then you can make an informed decision about what's best for you and your family.
Down Home with Tina is brought to you by these amazing sponsors. Folks, I was writing in a magazine. I'm not really doing as much anymore, but some of the stories that I've written I'd like to share with you, and this one I don't believe I've shared with you yet, and it's just called The Cookie. So I'm going to share my story and then have my little message at the end. And this story is there's a photo of a man, and as I sit here and I look at this picture as what I'm talking about in the story, I see a man as one of the smartest men I've ever known. As a matter of fact, I always said if I were to have ever been a contestant on the game show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, he would, without hesitation, be my lifeline to call and ask a question. to save me to continue it on the game. In his younger years, he loved to work on cars to fix up and sell. He once had a 57 Chevy. Wish he still had that one. It was a beauty. You see, brains like he has is a true blessing. He didn't choose to go to college or be a scholar of any type. I never understood why he chose the path that he had chosen. Let me explain why. Here's my story. Here's my blog. Roger was one of 7 children, and he was one of the ones in the middle. He had 3 older brothers, 1 half-brother, 1 brother younger than him, and a sister. I don't know much about Roger when he was a child, but I do know a little about him as an adult. I know he had plans on going to college, but those plans changed when he found out he had a daughter on the way. After the first, a second came along about 14 months later. 5 years later was number 3. He continued to have children until there were a total of 5. Unlike in his family where there were mostly boys, his were all girls. He started his adult work life in a glass factory. He was a truck driver for a bit. At one point, he was laid off, and the family pretty much scraped pennies for several years. Eventually, he would get a job in a steel factory and work there for over 30 years in an extremely hot and uncomfortable atmosphere. Oh, and Roger had a love for music. He always had a record player in his house. I don't recall him being much of a singer, but he sure loved his records. He collected 33 and 45 vinyl records. This was in the 70s and early 80s, when music was awesome. If you've read my blog before, you would know that I am an 80s girl. I sure love the music of the 70s, and I'm sure that's why I fell in love with music in the first place. Anyway, if I recall, Roger usually made people laugh as well. That's a little about Roger when he was younger. Some would say Roger had lived a simple life but hard life, a life I never understood because he seemed to have had so much charisma and was so intelligent. When I was in my 40s, he told me a story about when he was a child. He said, "Did I ever share with you the story about the cookie?" I said, "No, I don't recall." He said, "When I was a child, my mother used to tell me that although I was smart and I brought home good grades, that I was nobody special in this home and that I wasn't going to get treated any different." I said, "What?" He went on to tell me that she didn't want him to feel special just because he was a scholar and got good grades. And he went on to say that one time when she was giving out cookies, she wanted to give me a broken cookie, and I asked if I could have a whole cookie. She said, "No, you may be a privileged character at school, but in this house you're like everybody else." He said, "She gave me the broken cookie just to prove to me that I wasn't special." Folks, I tell you this story, it was with sadness rolling down my face and in my eyes. Value and worth. Value and worth. All my life, I've always wanted others to know their value and worth. My grams used to say, "Nobody is any better than anyone else. Treat everyone the same." Those are more of Graham's words of wisdom, and I've shared those in the past as well, folks. And I've done just that, and I always have. So please do me a favor. Look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself how important and how valuable and how amazing you are. You are special. We are all special, if not for yourself, but for Roger, the child who was told he wasn't special. Before I'm done with my story, I have a couple more things to share with you, if you haven't already figured it out. This fellow I'm speaking of, the one in the picture, is my father. And until this day, at 68 years old, now he's 70, I wrote this when he was 68, to prove to himself, he will not eat a broken cookie. So folks, eat a broken cookie, because you know what? It doesn't matter because you're special no matter what. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the story. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. And I hope that you are with me next week because I've got a wonderful young man who deserves some attention and recognition and to be highlighted because he did something for a classmate who was about to become, him and his family, homeless. That's what's coming up next week. Thanks for watching. God bless. Good day. It's Down Home with Tina.